Okay, there. Hi, magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. This is Bob Reyes from the Mozilla Philippines community. Thank you for joining us. This is the September 2022 edition of the Mozilla Philippines online meetup. And we have a very special guest for tonight. So before we go to that, so um, before we go and before I hand over the virtual tour to our guest for tonight, so let me do and introduce our organization. So a little bit of history. Thank you for those who are joining us for the very first time. I see a lot of new faces here on Zoom. Maraming salamat po. So Mozilla started way back in the 1990s. We are an offshoot of Netscape. So there was a project called Mozilla.org, and that's where we started. And Firefox was born 4 years after that. As a global nonprofit organization, we believe in many things. We believe that the internet should remain as a global public resource. And to summarize, we have our commitment. So we are committed to an internet that includes all the peoples of the earth. We are committed to an internet that elevates critical thinking, reasoned argument, shared knowledge, and verifiable facts. We are also committed to an internet that promotes civil discourse, human dignity, and individual expressions. And lastly, we are committed to an internet that catalyzes collaboration among diverse communities, like the different tech communities in the Philippines. So we are working together for the common good. And here in the Philippines, we just celebrated our 13th year this month. Okay. So at present, the leadership is composed of 4 Mozilla reps, 2 regional coordinators, 1 in the Visayas and 1 in Mindanao. And we have 8 core members composed of reps, alumni, and Pinoy Mozillians who in their own capacity have been so awesome this past few years. What's keeping us busy? Here in the Philippines, we are localizing Firefox to Tagalog, Cebuano, and Hiligaynon. At present, Tagalog is already launched in Firefox. We are also doing stuff related to free and open source software, online security and privacy through social media campaigns, online events like this one, and we participate in lawmaking procedures. And lastly, we are also trying to finish a learning management system with contents related to localization, privacy, web development, and Rust programming. When we talk about Mozilla, the first thing that comes into mind of most people is Firefox. And when we talk about Firefox, we talk about the Firefox family of products and what's included in there. We have Firefox, the web browser, we have Firefox Monitor, and a slew of other things. So in the bottom, you will see the different Firefox variants. So we have nightly, developer, and beta. We are also available in Android and iOS for mobile. And this is the current version. So we are on version 104 right now. We also have a product called Firefox Relay. So what does Relay do? If you want to subscribe to websites that you do not trust, but you really need to give them your email address, then there's an alternative way. You go to relay.firefox.com, sign up, it's for free, and you will be able to generate a Relay email address. So you don't have to give your real email address to these websites that you do not trust. And once you're done, if you do not want to receive any emails from these websites or the subscription and services anymore, you simply have to delete the Relay email address and it's like nothing happened. Okay. So thank friends of MozillaPH. So we have quite a lot of them, but later on, I'll introduce 2 of our trusted and ever reliable partners. So how to join the community? Here in the Philippines, we need people to use and test our products. We need people who can help us spread the word about free and open source software and online privacy. We also need people who are willing to localize Mozilla products and websites. And we need people who are willing to learn and to be trained in helping other people become web literate. So just go to join.mozillaph.org. There's an online form there. Tell us what you wish to do or how would you become how you wish to become part of the community, and basically, well, get it from there. We are on social media on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on Instagram. So no need to memorize all of this. Just go to linktree/MozillaPH. All the links are there. And if you want to get in touch with us, there are primarily two ways. One, email us via info@mozillaphilippines.org, or you can chat with us via chat.mozilla.org. Okay. And search for the Mozilla Philippines room. Sorry. Okay, so announcements. Yeah, MDN Plus is now live. Okay. Just go to hacks.mozilla.org. We also have released our vision for the evolution of the web via webvision.mozilla.org. And yeah, we are still finalizing how we are going to conduct the RAS 101 for absolute newbies. So hopefully before the last quarter ends, this will be out. And we are also finalizing localization for Tagalog, Cebuano, and Hiligaynon. So it's all ongoing via pontoon.mozilla.org. Now, a few words from our friends at the Education PH and AWS Club Pilipinas. Okay, so let's listen to this.
Good day, I am Acha Abe, the Technical Community Manager of Education.ph, and I'm very excited that you are here with us today to learn more about technologies with AWS. I'm going to give you an introduction about Education.ph and AWS Lab Pilipinas. Education.ph is the largest edtech platform in the Philippines, empowering millions of Gen Z students aged 13 to 24 to make self-aware education decisions that lead to a fulfilling career and life. Education.ph has worked with hundreds of partners, schools, corporations, and foundations to enable them to reach and engage with its student community along with the journey from education to career. Along with that, we have AWS, or Amazon Web Services Siglab Pilipinas, a community to uplift fellow developers and professionals in the Philippines with industry leaders all over the world sharing their expertise in the field. And at present, we have over 30 community partners always preparing events for you for free. And we look forward to share more opportunities and knowledge in technology with you. AWS Lab Pilipinas holds Community Ignite series, our internal event every Thursday via Zoom, broadcasted live on our Facebook page from 6 to 7 p.m. All of our events are posted in our Facebook event page. You can check us at AWS Lab Pilipinas on all of our socials on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And we're also on Eventbrite. Make sure to join our community at AWS Lab Pilipinas to stay updated with our future events and also get a chance to win prizes such as AWS credits and swags from us. Enjoy the event today and we look forward to seeing you again at our events. It's always day one at AWS Lab Pilipinas.
There, maraming salamat, Acha. Okay, and so without further ado, so for tonight we have our awesome guest. So he is Joshua Arvinlat. I've known him from the tech community ever since. But I will let him introduce himself, okay? So Joshua, are you here? Go. Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hi, magandang gabi.
Magandang gabi rin. And thank you for inviting me to this amazing event.
Maraming salamat for taking time to be part of our online meetup for tonight, okay? So
Yes.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, share your screen, okay? So let's listen to Joshua, and if you have questions, you may use the chat function either here in Zoom or for those who are tuned in to our Facebook live feed, or later I'll let you unmute your microphones. Okay, maraming salamat, Joshua. Take it away.
All right. Thank you for that. So we'll have a talk about big data. So the title of this talk is Introduction to Big Data Analysis. So later we'll show you the more practical way on how to understand what it is and what it is for. Because sometimes there are confusing parts when dealing with big data. Some people kasi and even some companies go straight to dealing with big data requirements when in fact they could have tried understanding the requirements first before going straight to the technology. So again, technology supports the business, and kailangan meron talagang business requirements for these types of techniques and tools and strategies. So before I discuss the topics, let me introduce myself. So I am Joshua Arvin Lat. People call me Arvs. So spelling would be ARVS. Yan. So yung Arvin naging Arvs, parang shortcut. So Arvs, si Sir Arvs, ganyan. I am the Chief Technology Officer of NewWorks Interactive Labs. I'm also an AWS Machine Learning Hero, and I'm the author of the books Machine Learning with Amazon SageMaker Cookbook and Machine Learning Engineering on AWS. So the first book, the one on the left, it was published last year, I think October last year. And then this November, or baka mamaya October, malalaunch and mapapublish na rin yung second book, which is on Machine Learning Engineering on AWS. So yeah, actually meron siyang intersection with big data along with data lakes and data warehouses. So if you're interested in learning about mga data stuff along with creating machine learning models and deploying them in the cloud, then this may be the books for you. So enough about myself. Let's now go straight dun sa ating topic. So when dealing with data, there are different sources, and one of the good examples na we can start with is yung sa logs. Yan. So hindi ko kasi masabing big data yung, let's say, transactional data ng mga users. Usually kasya siya sa mga mas maliliit na mga databases eh. So when yung mga data natin nasa mga megabytes or at most gigabytes, hindi pa natin siya masasabing big data. And big data itself is very vague. Pero once na umabot na siya sa mga petabytes na, and it's starting to get harder for us to manage yung data, especially kapag hindi natin alam yung form, walang structure. And at the same time, hindi naman natin napagplanuhan yung mga types of analysis. Doon nagkakaroon ng mga challenges, and we need different set of tools along with different techniques to manage these types of requirements. So again, one good example here would be log management. So paano ba gumagana yung log management? So when we have a website or when we have websites, and then what happens there is that our websites are hosted inside servers or computers in the cloud. Tumatanggap yan ng traffic, meaning may mga tao, may mga users na uma-access ng ating websites. And yung mga websites na yan, every time na may uma-access and may function na tumatakbo, nag-generate yan ng logs. So yung mga messages, minsan log message lang siya na parang malalaman natin kung dumaan ba doon or not. Minsan malalaman natin kapag nag-error. Nag-generate ng logs yung ating web applications. Sa sobrang daming mga servers na tumatakbo sa internet, darating yung point na yung mga logs na yan kailangan i-centralize, and darating din yung point na we need to look for certain things dun sa loob ng logs. And there will be times na kailangan natin mag-run ng analysis and we need to generate reports from the logs themselves. For example, gusto nating malaman kung stable ba yung applications or not. So how do we prove na stable yung applications or not? So we try to analyze what we have. We use data to tell a story or at least to prove a point. For example, tinanong sa'yo ng boss mo, every kailan nagda-down yung website and kailan tayo kailangan magdagdag ng servers. So nandoon yung business need. Nandun muna yung parang reason why we're going to use para certain concepts or techniques. So hindi siya pwedeng big data agad. Hindi pwedeng sinisingit ang big data para lang magamit siya. Kailangan may need muna na hindi technical. Kailangan may need muna na business level. So may question na sinasagot. So once we need to answer a question, doon na nagkakaroon ng para mga technical na mga techniques and mga solutions in order to answer specific questions. And once na dumadami ng mga logs, yun, kailangan natin i-process yung data bago siya maging dashboard. Kasi kapag may dashboard ka na, within 1 second, magkakaroon na tayo ng better understanding of what's happening inside, and makakapag-prepare ka na rin ng mga aggregate reports and charts para lang din malaman natin yung behavior ng customers, malalaman natin yung behavior ng systems, and so on. So with data, we are able to extract insights and make data-driven decisions. So for example, on the left side, to make a very simple example, let's say na we have a 3-column table. Sabihin na natin 4 columns kasama nung index. So sa first na row, ang name ng user is Alfred. And then meron siyang 3 years of experience working. Tapos yung salary niya, for example, is $1,260. Example lang yan. So again, I'm just making things up. So as you can see here, we can see here mapping between number of years of experience of work sa salary. So what if we want to understand and analyze kung may pattern ba? We want to check kung may pattern ba. So mula dun sa data, what we will do is we will try to convert that into a chart. So dito, pwede nyo siyang i-convert into, anong tawag dito? Scatter plot. So sa scatter plot, meron kang X and Y axis, tapos maglalagay ka lang ng dot. So kapag yung X value mo ay 3, tapos yung Y value mo is 1,260, kailangan mo lang mahanap kung nasaan yung intersection nun. Doon yung ilalagay yung dot. And since maraming records doon sa inyong parang spreadsheet or table, magkakaroon ka ng maraming dots as you can see on the right-hand side. However, as you can see, the more na meron na kayong maraming data points, the more nagkakaroon kayo ng opportunity na magkaroon ng pattern na generalization. So what I mean by that is, pwede natin sabihin, oh, meron naman palang pattern yung number of years working sa salary. So would that mean na kapag mas matanda ba ako, mas tataas ba yung sweldo natin? And in most cases, that's true. Diba? So maraming factors kung bakit ganun. Pero this is one of the things na you should know kasi once you have more data, there's better opportunity for us to come up with these types of observations. For example, let's say na yung data points mo lilima. Ano yung mas kapanipaniwala? Yung observations mo na 5 lang yung data or yung observations mo na 5 million yung records. So kung yung pattern holds true sa isang mas malaking dataset, mas mataas yung chance na tama yun, yung ganong klaseng observation. So yun, so ganun ka-importante yung proper understanding of the data at the same time, and the more the merrier when it comes to data. So one thing that we need to note is, of course, if proper yung handling natin dun sa data and yung sa analysis, then of course, the more the merrier. There will be cases na hindi magandang mag-collect ng data for the sake lang na maging big data siya. So usually, ang ginagawa ng mga tao is nauuna yung tools. Oy, meron ka tayong tools. Tapos pwede na tayong magkaroon ng big data in infrastructure kahit magsalpak na lang kayo magsalpak ng data. Kung makagawa kayo ng way na hindi siya umabot dun sa mga big data levels for simple requirements, then there's no need to. Ginagamit lamang ang big data if it's really needed. And we will show you several examples later on where big data is really applicable. So, ano mangyayari after ng analysis? So, kanina, naobserbahan natin na, kapag dumadaming years of experience ng isang tao, di baka tataas yung sweldo niya. Parang ganun yung observation natin. And dito, paano kung yung data na meron tayo, ginamit natin for machine learning? So, with machine learning, meron kang data, magpo-produce ka ng isang model na using that model, mapipredict mo yung isang value or makapag-forecast ka. For example, dito sa case na to, kapag meron kang data nung, let's say, number of years of experience, gusto mong mahulaan yung salary, pwede natin gamitan ng machine learning. And this is the machine learning process where yung data na kinolect natin, dadaan yan sa data cleaning and preparation, may transformation pa, and so on. We won't dive deep into machine learning kasi hindi naman yung topic natin ngayon. Pero as you can see, itong process na to would significantly be affected depending on the size of the data. So kung yung data mo is 100 gigabytes, for example, kaya pa yan. Maraming mga tools na more or less kayang-kayang i-handle yung ganung kalaking data. Kapag petabytes na and even larger na types ng data and size ng data yung hinahandle, may mga tools na hindi na yan kayang i-process. And there will be times na hindi na practical. So later we will show why and how, and magpo-provide tayo ng mga recommendations on how to solve this. So, all right. So let's take a step back and understand an example of the logs collected by one system. For example, tinry natin mag-create ng sarili nating Google Analytics system. So every time mag-click yung isang user, ini-store natin siya sa isang separate database. So for example, for session number 1 or user number 1, in-access niya yung isang page, yung isang URL, and then meron lang siyang true or false na value. So again, kung ano yung gusto niyong i-record, yun yung mare-record nyo. And then we can say na nag-record tayo ng integer na number of seconds na nag-stay siya sa isang page or sa isang buong session. And then finally, gusto nating i-record kung tinuloy ba niya yung purchase or not. So yun. So yan yung mga klase ng mga events na we probably would like to track. So if we had a small computer, so sabihin natin na one computer, yung isang computer, pinarocess itong table na to. Kung yung table na yon is, let's say, inabot siya ng 1 hour, tagal no? Inabot siya ng 1 hour to process this table. Anong mangyayari kapag dinoble natin yung laki ng table? For example, ito, 5 rows. Inabot ng 1 hour yung computer. Everything else na equal, sabihin natin na sakto talaga na 1 hour yung kaya ng computer na yun. Eh di ang mangyayari, magiging 2 hours para ma-process ng same computer yung 2 times na data. I mean, everything else hold, parang lahat sila equal. Diba? Siyempre, yung computer, hindi mo papalakihin. And at the same time, walang optimization na nangyari behind the scenes. More or less, magiging ganun din yung parang proportion to process this. Paano kung times 100 natin yung data? So, yung same computer na yun, ito times 100 din natin yung size. And kapag pinalaki pa natin yan ng mas malaki, darating yung point na hindi na siya kaya ng isang computer. Okay, at the same time, siya din na rin siya matagal. Ba't ka mag-aantay ng, ano yan, parang siguro lalagpas na yun ng isang taon, di ba? Or baka 10 years pa. So, ang goal natin as professionals is to find a way na hindi natin mararamdaman na malaki yung data. Kung inabot tayo ng mga 2 to 3 seconds to generate a report, or maybe sabihin 30 minutes, maybe it took us 30 minutes to 1 hour to generate a report with a small data set. Makakagawa kayo tayo ng paraan using the right tech stack and the right techniques na kahit na sobrang laki ng data mo, eh makakapag-extract ka ng valuable na insights and makakapag-generate ka ng reports within the same amount of time na 15 to 30 minutes. So ang mangyayari dito is magiging enabler ang technology for us to achieve yung mga requirements natin. So as mentioned, business requirements come first. Technology is there to support it. Hindi siya parang, oy, ano yung mga concepts, structured versus unstructured data. Anong paki ko dyan? Di ba? Ang kailangan ng end users natin is yung sila yung gagamit ng mismong system. Meron kang data, gusto natin mag-generate ng report. And kung aabutin tayo ng 100,000 years para ma-generate yung report, eh wag na. Pero kung makagawa tayo ng way na pwede pa na natin siya ma-generate yung report ng 2 to 3 minutes, kahit na sobrang laki ng data, then masasabi natin na we're able to handle big data requirements. So here, we'd like to emphasize na time will always play a very important part of it. So kanina na-mention ka na, paano kung 100,000 years? O paano kung 1 year bago makapag-generate ng report? Marami kasi mga bagay na matatamaan. And at the same time, kailangan din tignan yung time aspect ng pagiging real time. So merong din parts ng big data na kapag global na yung level ng data na pinaprocess natin, merong mga times na kailangan mong tignan yung tinatawag na parang fast moving data and yung slow moving data. Yung data mo for today, iba yung treatment. Yung data mo na hindi today, so sabihin natin yesterday hanggang dun sa data ng 5 years ago, iba yung treatment and pwedeng iba din yung tech stack na ginagamit to process the data. So may slow and merong fast. So yung mga ganun, again, time will always play a factor. Iba yung tech stack na ginagamit kapag yung data na report na generate mo is after 1 hour pa kailangan versus yung kailangan mo na right now. And kung makakapag-antay ka naman ng 6 hours para ma-generate yung isang report, again, that's a completely different story. Ayan. So ngayon, before I proceed with the next slides, magkakaroon tayo ng isang game. So, ang reward for winning the game is a free ebook kapag lumabas na yung aking second book, yung Machine Learning Engineering on AWS. Meron pa akong pa-promo. So, bibigyan ko kayo ng 30 seconds and kailangan nyo lang i-type sa ating chat box kung ano yung inyong hula. Alright? So, ang question ko na kailangan nyo sagutin within 30 seconds would be, how many apples are in this slide? Ayan. So, ulitin ko yung question. How many apples are in this slide? So, kung sino yung unang nakapag-chat ng tamang sagot, siya yung panalo. Ayan. So, how many apples kailangan yung bilangin? Timer starts now. Sige, magbilang na kayo guys. Kasi, magandang librong yan. Sige, magbibilang ako. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ayan, so marami tayong sumagot. Piliin muna natin yung number 12. Ayan, so may isa nagsagot ng number 12. Pati si Sir Bob nagbilang na rin. 20 daw. Ayan. Unfortunately, yung number na 12, incorrect yung answer. Ayan. I-try naman natin yung 13. Ayan. Pag tinignan natin yung screen at tinignan natin bilangin kung ilan yung apples, mali din, hindi rin 13. Paano kung 20? Mali din. Ayan. So, ano yung tamang answer? Walang tamang answer. Kasi it's impossible to count the number of apples in this slide. For one thing, pwede pang magkaroon ng apples underneath. Actually, kita nyo dito may mga apples pa underneath. And we might be seeing only a certain portion or view. When in fact, there could have been more apples after that. Actually, mas marami pa talagang apples after that. And it is impossible to count the number of apples in this slide. Yan. So, trick question yun. And ang reason kasi nun is kapag tayo yung nagmamanage ng data, one of the things na nagpapahirap sa atin sa pag-process nun is kapag unstructured siya or walang structure, mas mahirap bilangin yung apples or yung data. So paano kung yung mga apples na yan, naka-organize yan, na may parang naka-vertical na magkakapila, magkakapatong sila, tapos 10 by 10. So hindi mo kailangan isa-isahin yung mga apples doon. Pwede mo nang i-multiply yung mga edges and malalaman mo na yung total number of apples dun sa loob ng isang parang box or rectangle. So there's a major difference between structured and unstructured na data. Kasi kapag structured siya, mas madali siyang ma-process, mas madali siyang ma-clean and ma-analyze. Versus yung sa unstructured na baka kailangan mo pa mag-code separately para lang gawin siyang something na we can process. Okay, so for example, images. Yan, yung mga data na for example, nagkaroon ka ng mga nested na JSON, yung mga ganyan. Tapos i-compare nyo siya dun sa mga mga Postgres na or MySQL na tables. Tapos structured talaga doon, tapos normalized pa and so on. There's a major difference when it comes to processing and using that data. Sige. So for example, meron tayong isang project. Ang project natin for example is itatry natin hulaan kung yung isang image ba is cat or not cat. So there will be times na yung data mo, hindi lang siya numbers and text. There will be times na images yung data. Diba? Kasi gagamitin yan. And yung mga images na yan, technically lang naman yan parang grid lang naman yung mga images na yan na mga RGB colors. So the larger the image, the more pixels those images have. So what if kailangan natin mag-train ng isang deep learning model? Yung deep learning model natin nangangailangan na napakalaking dataset. 'Di ba? So pag napakalaking dataset yung kailangan natin, of course, mas accurate yung model. Pati yung model mo laki, 'di ba? Pati yung model mo na nagka-try mag-predict kung cat ba or not cat, magiging mas accurate siya. Doon pumapasok yung deep learning. Kasi lagi nyo naririnig yun, di ba? So pagdating ng big data, usually yung isa sa mga nakadikit sa kanya is deep learning kasi pag mas malaki yung dataset mo and nakagawa kayo ng way na malinis siya, magiging mas powerful and mas accurate yung machine learning model nyo na gumamit ng deep learning na architecture. So yun, syempre, kung mas onti yung images nyo ng cats, di ba? Mas pangit yung lalabas na model and baka magkamali-mali pa yan ng pag-predict. And here, as you can see, hindi lang tayo limited with text, with numbers, pag nagpe-perform ng machine learning na prediction. And again, gagamit tayo ng iba't ibang types ng data sets and types ng data, whether they're structured or not, pwede pa siyang semi-structured, to get what we need. For example, we need to analyze data, we need to automate something, we need to make decisions based on the data that we have. So yan. So very important for us to understand ano yung mga types ng data, ano yung data na gagamitin natin, yung data sources, and saan natin i-store yung data. So before we go dun sa ating storage na topic, let's rest. Let's rest for 5 seconds and then read kung ano yung nandoon sa ating slide. Sabi dito na when all you have is a hammer, everything becomes a nail. So ang point na gusto kong i-share dito or i-emphasize is kapag sa database nyo na medyo, kunyari, kaya pa ng database nyo, yung maliit na dataset, kapag lumaki na yan, syempre hindi nyo na pwedeng gamitin yung same database na yan. May mga times na may ma-reach na limit yun and mas maganda gumamit na kayo ng ibang database or data store. Darating yung point na, paano yung image? Paano may store yan? I-shoot mo ba yung image sa loob ng Postgres or MySQL, di ba? There are times na may mga gumagawa nun para mas madali yung migration. Pero in some cases, mas magandang i-store sila sa data lake. So there are different ways to do this. But as you can see, parang wag niyong mamahalin yung isang tool. Mas maganda mag-try kayo ng iba't ibang mga tools which is best suited for the job. So here, we will discuss kung ano yung data warehouse sa data lake. So marami kayong maririnig na ganito. Pero kung isi-simplify natin, data lake is mostly focused on parang doon lang dinadump yung data. So minsan hindi siya processed, minsan raw. Yung mga unstructured na data dyan sinasalpak. Pero once we need a bit more structure, once we need a bit more rigidity and assumptions and constraints, tapos nag-query na tayo doon, data warehouse. Of course, pwede ka din mag-query sa data lake. So meron din technology na pag nagsalpak ka ng data sa data lake, merong query layer na pag nag-run ka ng query, yun, high-tech, magkakaroon ng mga servers na magpa-process ng data sa loob ng data lake. Pero again, kung structured versus unstructured, more or less, pwede mong sabihin na yung mga mas structured and mas malinis and mas processed na data sa data warehouse kapag malinis na. And kapag sa data lake, sinasalpak lang generally doon tapos unti-unting nililinis. Yon. So kapag humahanap kayo ng ways to solve your big data requirements, kailangan nyong i-research kung ano yung options available. Ano yung mga tools for data warehouses? Ano yung options for data lakes? And there will be times na magagamit kayo ng serverless data warehouse and serverless data lakes. Na pag kailangan nyo mag-query, magbabayad lang kayo dun sa time na kung kailan kayo mag-query. Tapos wala kayong kailangan servers i-manage. Kasi ibang layer pa yung querying layer eh. So meron kang storage, meron kang server, meron kang storage management. Pero iba pa yung pag-extract ng data and information from the data inside. There are also techniques when it comes to big data na pwede nating paliitin yung data mismo. So for example, meron kang isang 500 gigabyte na file or files, di ba? Hindi pa siya kinoconsider big data, pero alam natin na malaki-laki siya. Malaki-laki si 500 gigabytes eh. If it takes, let's say, 10 minutes to process that data set, merong ways to convert that into a different format. So maraming klaseng formats available, and one of them would be yung protobuf record IO format. And kapag ganyan, makikita nyo na, merong 70% na reduction dun sa size. And so on. So there are different options available. So kapag kinompare mo yung .csv versus yung other options niya, mararamdaman nyo yung performance improvement and size difference kapag hindi na kayo gumamit ng .csv, which is comma separated values. So yun. So always try to optimize what you can para mas mabilis yung processing and para mas mura overall yung total cost sa resources ng ginagamit. So pag mas maliit yung data na ginagamit natin, of course, mas maliit yung resources na kailangan. So kung nangyari, gusto natin mag-prepare ng isang machine learning model from a dataset, pwedeng ganito lang kalaki. Pero kapag mas malaki yung data na gagamitin mo to produce the same machine learning model na mas accurate, ayun, kailangan mo ng mas malaki at mas mahal na resources. Kasi kapag hindi mo binago yung resources na ginamit mo, minsan hindi siya gagana. Minsan, sobrang tagal. Minsan, hindi matatapos yung process at all kasi may stop. Kasi hindi na kaya ng memory or ng CPU or ng space available dun sa ating resources na ginagamit. So now that we have a better idea on how big data works along with the concepts and the best practices, again, it's important for us to take a step back and understand na before we use the big data tools and the concepts, crucial na we start first with the business requirements. Do we need this in the first place? And that's when we introduce the technical solutions. And yung technical solutions na yan would be composed of building blocks. You may use different tools, you may use a combination, and there will be times na gagamit ka ng mga tools na ikaw mismo yung gumawa. So up to you guys na kung paano yun gawin, pero again, as mentioned, do not use technology for the sake of using it. There will be times also na na-mention ko kanina, paano na yung computer na hindi na magkasya sa loob yung data, china-chop-chop yung malaking data set into smaller parts. Sabihin natin na divide natin by 5 for simplicity. So paano kung yung malaking data set mo, divide mo by 5 and yung each chunk of the data has been processed by 5 computers. So 1 chunk per computer. So yan. So mangyayari dun is dinivide mo yung big problem into smaller problems. And ang mangyayari dyan, kapag na-generate na yung report, what we can do is pwede na natin i-delete yung mga computers. Kasi we don't want those servers and computers to be running forever kasi magastos yan. So gusto natin kapag mag-generate ng report, doon lang mabubuhay yung cluster of computers. Mag-generate ka ng report and then pag may report ka na, kunin mo yung report mula dun sa mga computers na yun, pag samasamahin mo yung mga reports, and then tanggalin mo yung mga computers. So before, yun yung tinatawag na map reduce. Okay, so before may tinatawag na map reduce. Ngayon, may mga mas modern na mga techniques na gumagamit na ng Spark, gumagamit na ng mga in-memory processing. Pero again, iba-ibang mga strategies yan and techniques to process the data and to come up with reports na pwede nyo may generate within 15 to 30 minutes or even faster. So before we end our session, it's important na we have a good idea din kung paano gumagana yung mga security concepts when dealing with big data. So when dealing with big data, usually sa isang organization, may mga roles, may mga team members. Merong isang developer, merong isang business analyst, merong isang data engineer, merong isang system administrator, may isang cloud ganito. Ang crucial pagdating sa security is for you guys to plan kung saan and ano yung mga dapat gawin ng mga different members na yon. And ano yung mga limitations nila sa pag-access ng mga resources. So syempre, yung developer, hanggang doon lang sa certain part. Yung business analyst diyan pwede maka-access ng database or ng infrastructure. And yung AWS Cloud Engineer, dapat hindi niya pwede magalaw yung mga reports and so on. So pagdating sa security, it's important na kung ano lang yung dapat gawin ng isang tao, yun lang yung dapat niyang kayang hawakan. Pwede niyong sabihin, oh, hindi ba natin pwede pagkatiwalaan yan? Pag lumalaki na yung number of members sa isang team, mas maganda na merong guarantees. And ayaw naman natin na kapag na-hack yung account ng isang employee, or kunyari, nag-resign ng employee, naging parang angry employee. Nag-resign na, di ba? Parang galit na siya sa kumpanya, for example. Siyempre, gusto nyo na ma-deactivate din yung account. And malimit din yung damage in case lang na nag-cause ng damage from the inside. So yun. So minsan kasi yung big data na ginagamit is something na confidential, something na hindi sinishare. So hindi siya about processing and analysis all at the time. Dapat security will always play a part from the planning stages pa lang. So that's pretty much it. you guys were able to learn a lot from this quick talk about big data. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them now. So thank you again, Bob and team, for inviting me here. And yes, open to questions.
Maraming salamat, Joshua, for gracing our event for tonight. Okay, my first question dito, si Joffrey Samarita. So sabi niya kanina, maybe this is something related to your slide on security. So, grant least privilege principle po ba? Yun ang tanong niya.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes. Yan yung principle of least privilege. Yan. So pag sinearch nyo sa Google yung principle of least privilege, from the terms pa lang, di ba, least privilege, only give yung least, yung bare minimum na privileges or permissions para ma-perform ng isang person yung task niya. Yeah. So yeah, that's correct. Thank you for that.
Oh, ako may tanong ako. This is more of a personal question to you. Gaano kalaki yung pinakamalaking data set na na-process mo?
On my end, tanggalin na natin yung mga confidential na projects. Yung sa companies, borderline big data pa. Pero outside dun sa companies, nung ina-experiment ko pa yung mga tools before, para lang malaman kung hanggang saan yung kaya. Siguro, gigabytes, terabytes na level. Yung petabytes, hindi ako naggastos eh. Ayokong gumastos dun sa petabytes na level. Yung mga datasets lang na available na mga hanggang mga terabytes, kaya pa yun. Pero yung mga petabytes, nagagastos ka na ng medyo malaki. Hindi na. Kapag mga deep learning models na yung mga kailangan kong i-process, hindi ko na naman sila ilalagay sa data warehouse eh. Diretsong salpak muna sa data lake na S3 tapos process na. Pero kapag company-wide kasi, usually sa company-wide mabubuhay ka na hindi big data eh. Pero yung mga tools na ginagamit mo, naka-ready siya kung biglang umabot ng ganun yung mga requirements. So yung mga big data tools, I've used that for siguro mga 3 to 4 years na. Yan, mga ganun.
Awesome. Okay. So for those who are in Zoom, if you wish to ask questions and ask them personally, just raise your hand or let me know via chat. For those who are tuned in via Facebook Live, feel free to leave your questions on the chat window in Facebook. Ako may isa pa akong tanong. What's the best practice in say collecting data para ma-minimize yung wastage or trash later on when you try to clean them? May ganun ba sa big data?
Yes. Thank you for that. So for those na naghahanap ng mga best practices, one of the books na I would recommend is yung Big Data Big Dupe. So ganito yung yung nakakatawa dun sa book na yan is parang hater on big data yung author. Parang hater siya. Pero sinabi naman niya doon na may 10 to 20% na sakto si big data on that. Di ba yung mga na-mention ko example, mga images, even video files, di ba? Lumalaki na yan. Tapos minsan yung mga DNA stuff pa, big data talaga yan, di ba? Pero sinabi niya na parang karamihan daw kasi ng mga data, hindi naman talaga nagme-make sense na big data technologies yung gamitin eh. So going back to your question, kung makagawa kayo ng way na structured na yung data nyo, as early as possible and malinis na siya, na pagplanuhan na siya bago nyo isalpak sa data lake and data warehouse, data lake, mas maganda yan. Kasi kapag sinalpak nyo siya ng unstructured, edi kailangan nyo pang mag-aksaya ng resources and time cleaning that. Pero paano kung data collection pa lang siya, malinis na? Di direct yung data warehouse na agad. Baka nga hindi nyo na kailangan ng data warehouse, baka nga maliit na database lang yan eh. Kasi compared dun sa cost, masyadong mahal si data warehouse compared sa isang database na pwede mo na lang isingit dun sa loob ng isang instance, di ba? Especially kung may budget, di ba? So yun, so very good question by Sir Bob. Yan.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm wearing my other hat as a tech news columnist. So ito may tanong si Raymond, sabi niya sa chat, data lake pag mas malaki? Yun ang tanong niya.
Good question. Data lake kapag mas magulo.
Mas malaki pa daw.
Data lake pag mas magulo. Ayan. So kapag mas malinis, data warehouse. Or kapag mas organized na. Ayan. Kaya siya data lake, di ba? Parang, may tubig. May tubig dun sa lake. Salpak natin dun yung data. Kaya siya data lake. I mean, yun yung interpretation ko. Kapag data warehouse, warehouse ang organized. Di ba? So, yan. Organized warehouse. lake, salpa ka ng data. Yan. Sa size naman, depende naman yan kung hanggang saan yung kaya ng infrastructure and tools nyo eh.
Awesome. Okay, si Van Kit may magandang tanong. So, hi, great talk. How do you get started with big data or machine learning as a beginner?
All right. Good question. The first na marirecommend kong technique or strategy on how to get started with it is to start understanding muna yung needs ng isang business and needs din ng stakeholders and customers. So kunyari, maghahanap kayo ng weird yung advice ko. Minsan kasi sabihin, start with coding. Usually yun yung sinasabi ng maraming mga members. Pero kasi hindi siya about technology eh. It's about parang sino ba yung magko-consume ng result. For example, meron kang report na gustong i-generate. Ang gagamit kasi niyan is yung may-ari. Itatanong ng may-ari, is the effort profitable? Yung mga ganyan, di ba? Para, are we making money? Parang, is this a good use of our time and investment? Yeah. Parang, are our system secure? Parang, are we being attacked? Parang, saan nanggagaling yung mga attack? Sa ganitong bansa ba? Start with analysis. Start with understanding and identifying kung ano ba yung gusto mong gawin. So, data analysis yung number 1. And start with a small data set. Kapag meron ka ng dataset na maliit, madali na siyang palakihin. Kasi kapag malaki siya, papalitin mo lang. Or kunyari, meron kang 100 gigabytes na data and convert mo siya to 10 megabytes kasi sinimplify mo na yung report. Kasi inaggregate mo na siya. Mas madali nang i-process yung smaller dataset. Ang ganda lang kasi ng tawag kasi big data eh. Pero kasi yung tools, maganda din. Di ba? Parang doon mo lang siya magagamit sa big data na yan. And sa machine learning naman, hindi mo kailangan ng malaking dataset to start with machine learning. You can start with 20 columns. Actually, ginawa ko yun dun sa book ko. Kasi kapag nag-aral ka ng machine learning, parang, ba't may malaking dataset agad? Tapos, deep learning. Tapos may mga images pa. Parang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Meron pang mga deep learning neural network. Eh, hindi mo na nag-gets kung ano nangyari. Pag nasira pa, hindi mo pa alam kung paano i-fix. So, always start with a smaller dataset. Yun yung second kong recommendation. Because once you are very familiar with the process and the purpose of what you're doing, saka ka mag-delve into the more advanced techniques. Kasi yung mga advanced techniques na yan, kapag mas madumi na ba yung data mo, pag mas mahirap na bang i-analyze yung data, kapag kailangan mo na bang gumamit ng machine learning and big data stuff with a team, doon lang naman lumalabas yung mga best practices and strategies. Pero again, start small and start in your local machine. Huwag ka munang gumastos. Makakagawa ka ng way to study all of those without wasting money.
Awesome. Si Belle, yung kaibigan natin si Belle Ballesteros, so she has a background in statistics. She's asking kung meron ba daw techniques on how to clean data doon sa book na sinabi mo or even in your book.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes. So, dun sa book na actually pareho silang may techniques on that. Pero dun sa second book ko, yung lalabas sa November, mas madami akong nilagay. Kasi ang ginawa ko kasi doon is may data warehouse at meron data lake. Tapos meron pang data cleaning, data transformation, and processing and so on. So dun sa chapter na 50 pages to 100 pages na focusing on data cleaning, nandoon yung mga techniques and yung mga basic na foundational techniques na itong column na to parang may data integrity issue pa nga. Yan, pati yung mga ganun in-include ko. Tapos pati yung pag-automate kung paano ginagawa yung data processing na panglinis ng data, meron din. But yes, pero again, it's a machine learning engineering book. There may be books focused on data cleaning lang. Pero yan, if you want to learn machine learning na rin, edi yung book na rin na yan.
Awesome. Okay. Our chat box is burning with a lot of questions. Keep them coming. Si Loreto is asking, "Hi sir, what services in AWS to focus to start with big data?"
Ayun, thank you for that. So, ang dalawang pwede nyo tignan is AWS Lake Formation. Yan. So yung Lake Formation, parang ngayon lang narinig siguro yung Lake Formation, combination siya ng different services ni AWS to help members get started with preparing a data lake. Kaya ang lake formation, di ba? Mag-form ka ng lake. So pag ginamit mo yung lake formation at meron kang data, automatic na magkakaroon ka bigla ng data lake. Kasi hindi siya about having data lang eh. kailangan mo kasing i-prepare yung mag-query and mag-analyze ng data mo. So, kahit gaano kalaki yung data mo, since si AWS, infinitely scalable, ma-query mo properly kahit na gigabytes pa yun or terabytes. Of course, mas mahal yung terabytes, petabytes, di ba? Pero what I'm saying is, pag gumamit ka ng lake formation, meron na mag-run na jobs to analyze your data para lang malaman yung structure ng data na sinalpak mo dun sa data lake. Yun yung number one, lake formation. Yung second would be Redshift. And para hindi kayo mapagastos, meron tinatawag na Redshift serverless. So sa Redshift serverless, kung maliit yung data na pinasok mo, tapos gusto mo lang mag-experiment muna, halos wala kang babayaran kasi pagkakaalam ko may $500 na credits na libre pag ginamit mo yung Redshift serverless. Kasi pag ginamit mo yung Redshift tapos hindi siya serverless, baka yung bayaran mo yung 50,000 pesos na Redshift cluster, medyo mahal. Parang nag-experiment ka pa lang, parang pang tuition na, 'di ba? So yun. So again, wag niyong aralin si big data agad. Aralin niyo muna yung pag-process ng maliit na dataset. Kasi ang goal mo dyan is mapaliit and masummarize yung data. Pero again, good question.
Awesome, awesome. Si Joseph Dan may tanong. Hi sir, good evening. How do you handle missing or corrupted data in a dataset?
Ayan, thank you for that. Actually, nasa book ko yan. Kasi lahat ng mga na-experience kong ganyan, nilagay ko na rin doon. So, sige, isa-isa yan. So, handle missing muna. So, ibang treatment yan. For example, meron kang 100 records sa iyong database. Meron kang isa na missing na field or column doon. Kung gagamitin mo siya for analysis, pwede kasing insignificant yung row na yon. Kapag kinompare mo siya dun sa ratio ng mga pwede pang gamitin na data. So, 1 record out of 99 records, ay di-delete na lang natin or para impute or tanggalin. Tanggalin na lang natin yung, hindi pala impute. Tanggalin na lang natin yung record na yung ignore muna. Tapos kung gagawa ka ng machine learning model or i-analyze mo yung data, kung mabubuhay ka na wala yung record na yun, then that's one way to handle missing data. Okay? Pero paano kung kalahati pala nung 30% nung 100 na yun, marami mga butas-butas na mga cells or fields. So hindi mo siya pwedeng tanggalin kasi ang laki nung nawala dun sa data mo. Hindi mo siya ma-analyze properly kasi nagtanggal ka ng 30% ng data. So doon ka nagagamit ng mga data imputation techniques. And maraming iba't ibang mga techniques like for example, kung napansin mo puro true naman pala lahat yun, i-true mo na rin yun kasi most likely true din yung value na yun. Pero again, maraming techniques like regression, meron pa mga techniques na gumagamit ka pa ng machine learning para lang ma-identify yung mga missing na data. May mga imputation techniques para ma-plug in yung mga missing values. And it will not always be correct. Pero it's a good approximation kapag may missing data. So paano naman pag corrupted data? Kapag corrupted data, ina-analyze siya pinaprocess yan during analysis or pinaprocess yan before ma-store yun sa database. So meron kasi tinatawag na primary data store and meron pinatawag na centralized data store na doon na nag-shoot yung mga nandun sa primary. Meaning yung source of truth mo, hindi mo pa rin masabing source of truth. Yung nandun sa gitna, sa data warehouse. Kasi baka kailangan linisin muna dun sa mismong primary data stores. For example, we have a web application, tapos nakakabit siya sa isang database. Paano kung nandun na yung corrupted na data? So, wag niyo na siyang paabutin sa data warehouse. Kasi pwede niyo siyang linisin sa data warehouse. Pero ang marirecommend ko, linisin niyo na siya and i-correct dun sa mismong database na yon. So, ang question dyan, paano kung pinatakbo mo ulit yung application for 1 more week, tapos sasira ulit yung data after cleaning? The best way to clean and prevent corrupted data is to fix the application itself. Kasi paano kung yung application yung nag-create ng corrupted data or yung mga missing data? So, isolve nyo siya dun sa root cause and wag patchwork yung paglinis dun sa corrupted data. However, kung ang control nyo lang is yung data warehouse lang, di mag-run kayo ng queries to handle corrupted data and fix it. So yun, there are different ways pero ma-recommend ko solve it sa root cause. So good question, Joseph.
Awesome. Very insightful suggestion and tip dun sa mga gustong maglinis and maiwasan yung corrupted na data. So merong tanong si Loreto pa, may design pattern po ba sa big data or data warehousing?
Yes. Madami. So dun muna tayo sa fast and slow na sinasabi ko. So kapag sinearch nyo yung Lambda architecture pattern sa internet. So Lambda architecture pattern. Marami kasing ibig sabihin yung Lambda. Pwedeng Lambda function, na Python Lambda function. Pwede din siyang Lambda function na AWS na service. Itong sinasabi ko is an architecture pattern. So meron siyang parang fast at meron siyang may fast ka na maliit at meron kang slow. Sinasabi doon sa Lambda architecture pattern na yun na lahat ng mga fast is gumamit ka ng real-time processing ng mga tools and services. Kasi gusto mo real-time na nag-update yung dashboard. So pag binuksan mo yung dashboard without refreshing it, makikita mo na siya agad. Doon naman sa slow part, doon ka gumamit ng Spark, ng Hadoop, or whatever na gamitin mong big data tools kasi mas madaming records doon sa slow. So meron ka nung today or now, tapos meron ka din nung parang before na malaki. Ganun yung pag-process dun sa big data. And again, that's just one of the design patterns available. There are other design patterns na you should know kapag nasa production na. So yung mga design patterns na yun, okay yan kapag you're working with a team. Tapos ikaw, for example, yung manager or yung architect, kailangan i-research nyo yung mga applicable na design patterns. However, ang warning ko sa inyo is hindi dapat lahat ng design patterns ginagamit. Kasi minsan may mga design patterns na nagpapabagal ng timeline. So, kaya nag-web application development kayo, tapos pinilit nyo yung solid, boom, umabot ng times 10 yung timeline nyo. Sino magbabayad nun? Yung may-ari, di ba? Tapos bigla kayong pinag-fire. Parang, oy, ano yan? Delayed project, ganyan. So, make sure lang na very practical yung paggamit nyo ng design patterns.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Si Geoffrey siguro, he's interested in becoming an AWS certified solutions architect associate. So ang tanong niya, kailangan ko din po bang pag-aralan ang analytics kahit AWS SAA or solutions architect associate po yung target job role ko? Pwede po bang after passing AWS SAA ay pag-aralan na ang AWS data analytics or AWS machine learning? What learning path po ang marerecommend mo?
Got it. Thank you for that. So may two parts. Yung first part is dun sa loob ng company mo. Tapos yung second part is ano ba talaga yung gusto mo sa career mo? Yan. So dun muna tayo sa loob ng company mo. Yung company mo has a purpose, a mission, and a vision. Kunyari, ang company mo is e-commerce website development, for example, or may mini-maintain na e-commerce website. Tapos labihin natin na Shopify, for example, yung gamit. And hindi naman lalaki yung data. Meron namang mga reports na pwedeng i-download doon. And masaya na yung may-ari na gano'n na yung tech stack forever. Pwede mangyari kasi yun eh. Na ito lang yung budget na meron tayo for that. We will probably not invest on anything na data analytics platform. So kung kayo, alam nyo na more on development and building new websites yung goal ng company mo, then most likely hindi yun kailangan. Kasi small data sets lang yan. Okay? Again, tingnan niyo yung purpose, di ba? Tapos, yung question naman dyan is doon sa career nyo, kung biglang kinailangan na o gusto nyo maging machine learning engineer sa future, itanong nyo doon sa may-ari kung meron ba kayong parang goal na magkaroon ng machine learning na software or system or project, doon nyo magagamit yung skills. Pero mararecommend ko right now kasi, machine learning will always be something na relevant and useful sa future. Why not? Why not learn it? Diba? Pero again, wag niyong ipilit yung machine learning and yung big data kung hindi siya kailangan ng company. Pero pag sa upskill, nobody is stopping you from taking certifications and creating pet projects out of it. So anong learning path mararecommend ko? Be a back-end expert first. Tapos, aralin niyo yung mga concurrency. Aralin niyo yung pag-process ng malalaking mga dataset. Be a data engineer after. And then after na, maging machine learning engineer. So yan. So, again, pa 3 months, huwag nyo naman pilitin na after 5 days, machine learning engineer expert na kayo. Ano muna, pa 3 months, matagal yung career. Aabutin kayo ng mga 10 to 20 years for your entire tech career. Ang important is may mastery. And that happens by exposing yourself with opportunities. And kung walang opportunity, di-create kayo ng sariling opportunity.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe you also answered yung susunod na question ni Tomio Sabi niya, good evening, sir. Do you have any tips for us career shifters who are planning to learn machine learning, like the good tools or technology to start with? So in partial, you answered it already, pero do you have anything precise for career shifters?
Yes, yes. So for career shifters, start first with synthetic datasets. So ang synthetic datasets is SYNTHE, ano ba spelling nun? Synthetic. Search na lang, synthetic datasets. Synthetic. Yan. So yung synthetic dataset is a fake dataset. So usually kasi yung mga datasets available online, may mga 20 columns na yan, hindi mo pa malaman kung ano yung ginagawa ng bawat column. So ang marirecommend ko dyan, start with, let's say, 3 columns. Tapos meron ka lang 20 rows. Tapos mag-apply kayo ng machine learning doon. Kunyari, linear regression, logistic regression, di ba? Pwede ka lang mag-create ng tree-like structure doon agad. Yun. So, aralin niyo muna yung mga techniques and concepts. And the tools should follow. And ang marirecommend ko, dapat very experienced kayo, at least expose yourself with back-end coding. Kasi when you're dealing with data, the last thing you want to do is be stuck. Parang kunyari, meron kayong gustong gawin, gusto nyo mag-create ng report using that dataset or gumamit ng machine learning stuff. Paano kung yung back-end coding skills nyo medyo 1/10 pa? So ang gawin nyo, pataasin nyo muna yung back-end coding skills nyo to 8/10 para pag may gusto kayong gawin, hindi kayo mapipigilan. Talagang dire-diretso yung pag-implement ng concept. Yung code kasi is an enabler, parang meron kayong black magic na pwede nyong magawa yung isang bagay sa isang computer using that language. So kung hindi pa kayo ganun ka-familiar with that language or technique, i-polish nyo muna yun bago kayo dumiretso sa mga big data processing and machine learning. Kasi ang weird kung inaaral nyo yung concepts ng machine learning tapos nag-aaral pa kayo mag-code. So yun, yung coding critical siya.
Okay, so we'll take this last 2 questions. Medyo related naman sila eh. So sabi ni Joffrey sa kanil Loreto is, meron din po bang prerequisite programming knowledge and skills ang kailangan for learning big data analysis? And sabi ni Loreto is, you mentioned back-end coding. You mean utilizing SQL language?
Good question. Kapag kailangan nyo mag-create ng custom program, kapag mag-create kayo ng custom program, mahirap gumamit ng SQL. Yung SQL, okay yan kapag may database ka tapos meron kang parang opportunity na gumamit ng SQL to run queries. So meron kang ang SQL kasi is descriptive. Descriptive meaning kung ano yung sinabi mo, ganun yung ilalabas niya. Pero hindi mo kailangan malaman yung implementation kung paano siya nangyayari behind the scenes. So pag sinabi ko, give me the total of this, hindi mo na kailangan i-implement kung paano kino-compute yun. Malalaman mo total agad. So yun yung advantage ng SQL. So yes, SQL is important. Pero again, kailangan meron kang database and meron kang opportunity na gumamit ng SQL para magamit siya. Kapag kailangan mo ng further customization, kailangan mong gumamit ng, let's say, Python or maybe R or some other language to help you have a custom implementation procedure. So for example, hindi na siya kaya ng SQL, tapos kailangan mo na mag-create ng custom script na kung ano na yung mga pinagkakabit-kabit mong mga databases, mga files, mga images na yung pinaprocess mo. Yes, kailangan mo definitely ng programming language for that, like Python, in order for you to connect the dots. So yun. So marirecommend ko, pili mo na kayo ng isa, maybe Python, maybe R. Ang important doon is yung capability and understanding yun malalim. Okay? Hindi siya yung parang, alam ko yung 10 languages. Hindi yun ganun. Pumili mo na kayo ng 1 or 2, master that, or at least be an intermediate user, then humanap kayo ng mga cookbooks or mga solution-oriented books na ika-copy-paste nyo lang yung mga sagot. Tapos, gumana na. Tapos saka nyo intindihan ano nangyari. Or pwede yung reverse na ano yung mangyayari. Tapos ito yung example. So, yun. So, choose one and use it properly.
Okay. Eto, last, may pahabol. May nag-DM sa akin. How do you differentiate a data scientist, a data engineer, and a data analyst?
Good question. Sorry, ulitin ko lang nga. Data scientist, data engineer, and data analyst. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sige. So para mas madaling explain yan, kasi right now, mas magulo yan. Meron pang machine learning engineer, meron pang ML ops engineer, o basta, nagkagulo-gulo na yan dyan kasi ang daming mga roles. So, mag-time travel tayo. Mag-time travel tayo to 20 years ago. So, in the beginning, wala pang mga data scientist, mga machine learning engineer. Dati, data analyst or analyst pa nga lang before. So, even yung mga finance na mga members, minsan data analyst din yung tawag sa kanila years ago. I'm not sure kung kailan nag-start yung data scientist na title. However, when it was coined, biglang nagkaroon ng boom dun sa need ng data scientist. Kasi nagkaroon ng additional na mga responsibilities para siyang evolve na data analyst na nagkaroon ng ibang skills. Kunyari, parang sysad, tapos naging DevOps engineer, di ba? Of course, marami mag-aaway-away, hindi kami sysad. Pero it's an evolution of the role. So yung data analyst, pwede niyong sabihin na nag-evolve siya to a data scientist na mas may additional set of skills. Hindi mo naman na-expect na marunong mag-Hadoop yung hindi naman marunong mag-Hadoop or whatever something yung data analyst kasi medyo naging mas technical and nagkaroon ng other specializations din yung mga data scientist. And yung mga pag-prepare din ng mga machine learning model, nagkaroon din ng additional responsibilities yung data scientist na yung mga data analyst wala. For example, kung analysis lang talaga, data analyst. Pero kunyari, mag-prepare ka ng machine learning model. More or less machine learning, more or less sa data scientist yung machine learning model preparation. So yung data engineer naman, from the name itself, engineer. So engineer versus scientist. Science versus engineering. Ang science is merong experimentation. There will be things na changing, yung mga techniques kang ina-apply for experimentation, while an engineer is about building. So anything na closer sa engineering, development, automation, and setting up the platform, it's the data engineer. So kapag mas maliit yung company mo, minsan isang tao lang sila lahat. So kunyari, meron kang startup, tapos very passionate pa lahat, di ba? Parang one to sawa. So isang tao lang lahat ng mga yon. Tapos kapag lumaki yung team or yung department, doon na nagkakaroon ng mga separation of duties. Delegate na lang natin yung engineering stuff kay data engineer. Kay data scientist lahat ng model preparation and analysis. Tapos, ganun. Ganun na nangyayari kasi usually yung mga tao, ina-analyze yung roles from the job description, pero kailangan nyo muna tignan yung position and yung number of members and yung state ng isang company and number of years na tumatakbo yung company na yun para malaman nyo kung ano yung ginagawa ng isang role. Similar sa isang CTO. Yung isang CTO ng isang startup na three-member startup, minsan developer na 90% yung CTO eh. Hindi pa nagsisales yan masyado. Pagdating ng mga pag naging 200 employees na yan, yung definition mo ng CTO nag-iiba na. So same with the data scientist and data engineer and data analyst. Nagbabago yung roles depende sa context ng company, depende sa domain and so on. So good question anyway.
Okay, last question. Kailangan ba daw ng background sa finance or accounting if you want to become a data analyst?
Good question. Definitely hindi kasi pang finance to eh. Kailangan ng subject matter expertise or parang nice to have. Hindi nga siya nice to have eh. It's a good weapon. It's a good parang foundation. Depende dun sa domain. So kung yung data na ina-analyze mo is finance data, then makakatulong yung finance na background. Okay. So syempre, mga formulas, kailangan alam niyo yan kung finance data yung ina-analyze. Pero kung yung data na ina-analyze mo, DNA, kunyari, nagka-try kayong mag-create ng bagong rice. So meron kasi akong friend. So nung high school, nagkakakwentuhan yung mga high school friends ko. Meron akong parang ka-classmate ng high school na naging totoong scientist. So yung totoong scientist na yun, nagke-create sila ng rice. And yung rice doon hindi lumulubog, pati mga ganun, minomodify nila yung kanin. Kailangan, meron kang subject matter expertise doon sa mismong topic na yan. So meron tinatawag na mga domain experts. And kung nag-i-start kayo with data science, pwede nyong gawin is, pag na-assign kayo sa ganung project, and mission critical yung project na yun, kailangan na may ka-partner kang domain expert. So usually, sa isang team na 4 or 5 data scientist, may isang domain expert na nire-recruit parang part-time or parang consultant basis para lang ma-explain ng domain expert na yun kung paano gumagana yung domain.
There, cool. Naalala ko, di ba, pag graduate mo ng computer science, pinagtatanungan namin, ang tatawag sa'yo, computer scientist o
Programmer. Programmer.
something like that. Okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Joshua, for taking time and sharing your knowledge with our community and to those who tuned in sa ating Facebook Live. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Baka gusto mo i-promote yung books mo, where to get upcoming books.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Medyo naging choppy na onte, pero I heard na para kung gusto ko i-promote yung books ko. Yes, going back dun sa slide, yes, there are 2 books. Yung first book nag-launch last year, 760 pages. This is aimed for beginners and intermediate users and even advanced users. So lahat ng mga gustong magkaroon ng experience doing machine learning in the cloud, tapos step by step, na simplified, then this is the book for you. Tapos, again, for beginners and intermediate users then yung machine learning engineering on AWS, may machine learning naman dyan, pero focus more on deployments and automation and security. Pati mga data privacy, model privacy, kung paano ina-attack, nandyan yan lahat kasi hindi enough yung machine learning. Hindi enough yung mga machine learning big data. Kailangan, kapag na-set up na yan, kailangan matibay yung infrastructure and setup na back-end. Para ano siya, para long-term yung solution nyo. And dapat cost-optimized din siya. So yun, makikita nyo yan sa Amazon. So pag sinearch nyo yung books na yan sa Amazon, makikita nyo yan dyan. So available yan in Kindle or in book format. Mararecommend ko na book siya para yung cookbook kasi pag, paano ba ito gagawin? So, lipat lang kayo sa ganung page. And kung gusto nyo malaman kung paano ko siya ginamit, recently kasi may pinaprepare sa akin deep learning model sa work. So yung nakakatawa kasi dyan, pinagawa sa akin ng one day yung deep learning model for a proof of concept demo sa mga stakeholders. Nabuo ko siya in 5 to 7 hours. Actually, yung machine learning model preparation, 2 hours lang eh. Yung other stuff, yun yung mga 5 hours documentation, etc. Nagamit ko yung mga contents ng book na to for myself, di ba? So, at least may natulungan ang tao, sarili ko. And hopefully matulungan din kayo sa inyong machine learning and data journey.
Cool. May nagtatanong, may free copy po ba ng book at ilang months or years mo sinulat yung book?
Ayan, free copy ng book. Kapag sa LinkedIn or sa Facebook, nakaabang kayo, tapos nagpamigay ako, yes, free yun. Diba? So for example, parang, kunyari, nagkataon lang kasi na good mood ako. O kaya good mood. Parang giving away 5 free copies of the book, ganyan. So syempre, may 1 to 2 weeks yun na yung mga tao mag-like, comment. Tapos, gagamit ako ng randomizer or may tool na sa internet na randomizer. May mga 5 hanggang 10 naman nanalo. And last year, may nanalo ng 8 copies of hard copies. So ako, pinaggastosan ko na yun kasi first book ko naman di ba? Parang, I want other people to love the book then. So yan, may free copy kapag nanalo kayo doon sa promo. Ilang months, years, sinulat
sa online. Sa kanila pwede i-stock. Sa kanila pwede i-follow online.
Yes, kapag search sa LinkedIn yung pangalan ko, Joshua Arvin Lat, makikita nyo naman ako. Sa Facebook, search nyo lang din ako.
There. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat, Joshua, for taking time. So ulitin, marami pa tayong pag-uusapan.
Thank you din.
Okay, cool. So for those who attended tonight's session, okay, so we just need a small favor. If you can please accomplish this feedback form, you can either scan this QR code or go to the website go.educacion.ph/Mozilla SEP feedback. Okay, so please accomplish this form. This will mean a lot to us so that we can be better in our future events and sessions. For October and November, we are lining up awesome speakers just like Joshua that we had heard tonight. Okay. Madami nagre-request Joshua, libre daw na kopya ng libro. Madami nagde-DM sa akin. Okay, that sana daw maging available sa National Bookstore. Oh yeah, how we wish that it will be available soon. Okay. Ems is also leaving in the chat how to claim your e-certificate. So you need to accomplish the feedback form. So and wait for something like 5 to 7 business days, and they will be able to send it right to your email addresses. Okay. So answering the feedback form equates to attendance. So failure to answer the feedback form means forfeiture of your e-certificate. And with that, maraming salamat to our friends at Edukasyon PH and AWS Siglap Pilipinas for co-hosting tonight's MozillaPH online meetup. Thank you to those almost 40 people who participated in Zoom and a lot of people who tuned in via Facebook Live. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat and ingat kayo. See you next time. Goodbye. Good night.
Thank you.